Okay, everyone, welcome back to Godmaster on Hollow Knight. After you've beaten all 4 Pantheons, or more specifically after you've beaten the Pure Vessel, this thing rises up, and by hitting this switch, you unlock something evil. Something very, very evil. So you climb up this wall. If you try to climb it up before, there's something in the way. Anyway, you climb it, and you go backwards because you need to do something else first. Well, actually, the reason why I go backwards is because I just wanted to change my charms real quick and restore my soul, but I don't think restoring your soul does anything when you actually do a Pantheon. Like, I think you always start at 0. Oh, and I also go to check on the Godmaster outside of the dream. God Seeker, right? Not Godmaster. Sorry about that. For reference, every time you go outside of the God Seeker's dream, they're in a different stance. Like, right afterwards, after you entered the first time and finished the first Pantheon, I think they're basically just, like, barely trying to get awake. Afterwards, they're always in this stance right here. It's quite relevant because once you beat the final Pantheon, their stance is gonna make a lot more sense to you. If you never see them in that stance, you're gonna be wondering what the hell is going on, why they're suddenly alive. Just want most of you to notice that I don't have most of the bindings done right now. However, by the end of this video, I'll have done all 16 bindings for the first 4 Pantheons. I have not done any of the bindings for the final Pantheon at the time of this video being released, and I don't know if I'll ever get around to doing that because it's something else. But once you do complete all of the bindings on all of the Pantheons, you unlock Land of Storms in the God Home, which is basically just an extra reward for you actually being basically absolutely everything Hollow Knight has to offer, that this DLC has to offer. Here I'm just showcasing this door. It only opens up once you've completed at least 8 of the bindings. And you have to dream nail something right here to unlock the blue extra energies you can get. Also, if you look carefully, you can see the creature from the Abyss special room down there. Kinda neat. Sorry for my lack of diversity in my vocabulary, but it's kind of hard to do commentary right now. It's been quite busy for me. It took me 10 hours of attempts to actually be able to beat the final boss at the top of this area. So you go here and all you get is hot springs. But of course you know that's not all there is to it. Of course. I mean, it's quite obvious. Before going over there, I go check over there, but then I go back to go check over here. There doesn't seem to be anything, but there are some things. This is it, the final Pantheon. And the final Pantheon is gonna take a ton of practice. Pantheon of the Hollow Nest. Or Pantheon of Hollow Nest, just like that. And I just start right away. If I drop off to the sides of this area, you get to unlock some shortcuts to it, which is going to be relevant because it's going to take a lot of practice to be able to beat this. Not the first few fights though. The first few fights are just gimmies, let's be real. I'm not going to do them well because this is literally my first attempt, but there's been some major complaints about the Pantheon of Hollow Nest because of its difficulty. And tedium. Of course, tedium. Basically, you have to go through all the boss fights. Well, most of the boss fights. So some of them aren't actually in this, but you have to go through all of the boss fights, and some of them are just like, really? This is like a guarantee I'm sure to win. Recommended charm set from me is Shaman Stone with Soul Twister, I think it's what it's called. The one that reduces the cost of the spells. And Quick Soul for people who are just trying to get to the final boss. And if you did get to the final boss and you have enough experience fighting every boss up until that point, change Quick Soul with Mark of Pride. Because if you're that good at dodging their attacks, that means you shouldn't need to prioritize healing so much. Beyond that, the other thing that you should equip is Unbreakable Strength, which is kind of a gimme, because Unbreakable Strength allows you to cheese quite a few bosses by just face tanking them. But the reason why you absolutely want Shaman Stone is because it's super effective against a lot of the bosses in this Pantheon, which is, of course, because every boss is here, but it's most importantly effective against the final boss and the Collector, which is absolute nonsense in this Pantheon, because this is the ascended behavior of the bosses that you'll be fighting. And some of them, their ascended behavior is basically the same as their regular variant. Some of them a little tougher, but not too tough. And then there's the Collector, which spawns Primal Aspids, which is horrifying, because it can get really, really bad really, really quickly if you let those Primal Aspids accumulate. Like, seriously. What's worse is that the Collector is not even that late into the Pantheon. Well, actually, it's actually probably a good thing it's that way. Anyway, for this first attempt, I actually had Grubberfly's Elegy. I thought it was really, really useful because it basically forced me to get good at dodging so I could keep its effect. And Grubberfly's Elegy is actually really good for the Radiant Challenge of all bosses on the Hall of Gods, which is the boss rush of the boss room rush. Not a boss rush. Basically, that room I was in that had the statues of all the bosses. You can manually choose which boss you want to challenge, and there's different variants. So there's Attuned, which is basically the boss fight as it was in the regular game. Ascended, which is the tougher variant that deals double damage. And then there's Radiant, which is you get hit, you lose. Since you obviously must not get hit, you might as well equip Grubberfly's Elegy for the extra range and potentially extra damage, particularly against larger enemies. Although one major reason why I really equipped Grubberfly's Elegy is because it allows me to cheese the failed champion really, really easily. But I later found out that Abyssal Shriek, I think is what it's called, basically allows me to cheese the failed champion even without Grubberfly's Elegy. For the Moss Charger, you just attack like this. You don't even need Grubberfly's Elegy. In fact, I think it's easier without it. Just keep attacking when it tries to charge at you. For those wondering, it took me 10 hours, at least 10 hours, of attempts to finally beat this Pantheon. It's quite agonizing. If you don't want to have to do 10 hours of practice before you eventually beat this, I would suggest practicing and doing the bindings of the first 4 Pantheons first, until you're done with all of them. I already mentioned this before, but it really helps a lot to have 4 extra energy every now and then in this Pantheon. The extra blue energies don't help that much in the first 4 Pantheons, but in the final one, you can accumulate them over time, so it helps a lot. Mischief behind mischief. We cannot escape thee, even in this highest, most distance of Pantheon. O wielder of nail, O cater of soul. I can't read this because this is post-commentary what I'm doing right now. There's a bit of lore there anyway. For all the lore you managed to get in this DLC. It's really just a boss rush, which is cool. Back when I was first doing this Pantheon, which is the footage you're seeing right now, I really wasn't confident in being able to beat the Pure Vessel. It's only after doing the first 4 Pantheons with all of the bindings that I eventually realized that, you know what? I can beat the Pure Vessel every now and then, reliably. It's not a luck mixed fight where I hope it doesn't do the downward slash in the air. Or downward stab, I guess I should say. I still think that move needs to be nerfed though. It's hard to do commentary for these fights because they're so boring. Like, you're basically guaranteed to win, that's the problem. Some people have suggested that to fix the Pantheon of Howl Nest, they basically just need to remove all of the easy fights and leave like only the 7 toughest ones. Which would basically leave us with just the final checkpoint. The thing is, one thing I appreciate about the Pantheon of Howl Nest is that if you're really, really good at doing all of these bosses, even the easy ones, hit this, you can accumulate the blue masks over time, which is something that I think was intended for this DLC, for you to get good enough to be able to do that. But most people don't care about that. They don't want to grind away at fighting all the bosses every now and then. By the way, I should mention something about Soul Warrior right here. For the Nintendo Switch version, I've had quite a few crashes against this one. Really annoying. But since it's not too late into the Pantheon of Howl Nest, it's not that bad. To be quite honest though, the easiest fix for this would be to just remove this boss. I mean, it's barely a mini boss. Why is it there? I don't get it. Oh, Tiso! I think it's supposed to appear before Brooding Malek appears out of nowhere, but it didn't happen for me. I think it's because I've already seen Tiso dead, so they didn't bother doing the fake out. Kind of disappointing. I would have liked to see this scene at least. Although I guess it insinuates that Tiso died to the Brooding Malek, right? When they went into the Colosseum of Fools. I mean, it wouldn't explain why his body is still there. I mean, it's supposed to get completely crushed. Anyway, after Nailmaster Oro and his brother, you'll get your first official checkpoint. That doesn't really count as a checkpoint. Yeah, I can do a backwards jump like that. Makes no sense. Awesome. Urbo and Mano. They look exactly the same, but don't let that fool you. They fight differently. We swear it. The only difference really is that one has a dash slash, and the other one has the spin slash, which doesn't work at all like how it does when you use it, but you know. I guess another difference is that the one you fought first has much less health than the other one at the start of this fight against both of them. Which makes sense. I mean, you damage the other one greatly. I remember losing to this, well, both of these back when I first started the Pantheon of the Master, and I thought, wow, this is so tough, but now I realize they really don't have many attacks. But yeah, that's the spin slash right there, and I don't get it. That's not how it's supposed to work at all, if you ask me. It's not supposed to make you spin into the air. But I mean, it makes the attack look different, and it's good for gameplay, so I don't mind that much. Like, on the topic of his chargeable attacks, I really never used them myself, unfortunately. And I've beaten this DLC without ever using it at all, so I'm basically never going to use them, period. But yeah, this is our first official break. You get to restore your soul and health. And you can change your charms too. And if you did enough bindings to unlock these, you get extra blue masks of health. Blue masks of health. That's kind of redundant. But yeah, right here, 0. I mean, you've already seen the change in the layout for Grub Mother, but 0 is your first official fight in Ascended for the Pantheon of Howl Nest that really feels different and makes it much harder. Especially for me. Look at how many times I'm getting hit. Yeah, now he's released his 4 swords, but I was already getting hit even without his 4 blades, so whatever. I think the problem here is that the pit hits you and damages you much faster than you expect. Kind of bothers me. Crystal Guardian, kind of a joke. If you don't want to test your luck against the beams, you can use the downward spell to get tons of invincibility frames. Like the ground stomp, descending dark, that's what it's called. Soulmaster you can do immediately by just spamming the shriek. I'm serious. I've beaten this boss in like, well, I've beaten the first phase of this boss in like 10 seconds by doing that. It's kind of neat. The faster these fights go, the better it is. I think that's one of my complaints about Pantheon of Hellnest. You fight both the original variants of these bosses, Soulmaster, False Knight, and Broken Vessel. But then you fight their tougher variants, so it's like, why? It's just the same fight, but mildly harder. Especially Veiled Champion. God, I hate that fight so much. Here, this is where I was finally like getting that you can attack Soulmaster / Tyrant while he's doing this move. Like, I think at this point when I was doing this fight, I thought I could only really do this with Grubberfly's Elegy, but in my later attempts I would do it even with the regular Tiny Nail, which is not 100% effective, but it's still something that makes the fight go by faster, so that's why I kept doing it. The Oblobbles I don't like. Anytime I try to carry the blue masks to other fights, these things appear and I'm just like, there goes all of my energy. I haven't done all of the fights on Radiant, but I imagine these are one of the most annoying ones to do for that specific type of challenge. Not impossible, but definitely outrageously hard. And then we have the Mantis Lords. Ow. For some reason I really wanted to always have full health. That's the power of Grubberfly's Elegy. As long as you got full health, you get more range than Mark of Pride with Long Nail. However, I should mention that the beam doesn't deal as much damage as the nail itself. Not to mention the beam doesn't have the same property as a long nail. Anyway, look at this. It's different. It's the Sisters of Battle. Yeah, they're all female. The Mantis Lords. Some people thought they were male for some reason. I'm pretty sure I always knew they were female. Like their sound effects, their voices sounded female for their bug like variant. So don't know why they didn't think that. And if you looked at the Hunter's Journal, I'm pretty sure it mentioned somewhere that they were sisters, so whatever. It's still, this is a really fun fight, I'm gonna be real. I've not done it in Radiant yet, but I can see myself having lots of fun trying it. This was my first attempt at this fight, in case you're wondering. I immediately got what I need to do to deal with their attacks. Because it's the same thing as regular Mantis Lords, but now there's one more of them. Makes it intense, but fair. Although it gets a significantly less intense when you defeat one of them. Let's be real. And when there's only one left, it's basically the same as, well, regular Mantis Lords. I was healing right here because I didn't know there was going to be a break after this. You get quite a few breaks. Every 5 fights, I want to say. Man, looking at this old footage, I feel really bad for my older self for only having 2 extra health. Okay, I hate Marmu here. Like, this definitely improves this boss's strategy, but this feels so cheap. Honestly, I'd just suggest spamming hauling rates until they're dead. Marmu is a she, right? I think so. Like it matters really. Just spam hull and rates and hope they get hit by it for every hit. They don't have that much health. It's just that you got these blue masks that you want to carry over for the next fights and possibly the next set of fights afterwards, after the next break. But nope, you gotta fight Marmu and they're guaranteed to hit you every time. Fluke Marm, very easy. Just keep spamming hull and rates and hit them when you can. I don't think I've ever gotten hit by them in all of my attempts. That's how easy it is. Broken Vessel is annoying but manageable. Their attacks aren't that hard to react to. It's mostly because you can stun them quite often. A trait shared with their harder quote-unquote variant. And when they do this, it's basically free damage. Broken Vessel has always been kind of an easy boss for me. I never get around to them until I'm like upgrading my nail a handful of times. So I deal so much damage that I can barely see them in their patterns. Galleon, spam hull and rates. You'll be spamming hull and rate really often during this boss rush. Such an underrated move when I was playing this game for the first time. I always thought it was that it was useless because you get it in a place that's kind of out of your way, but the thing is, it's actually really, really good against many bosses, including the final one. I mean, I'm pretty sure many people already know who it is, but gotta keep up the suspense. Anyway, we've got Shio here. Shio has a relatively easy moveset to deal with. Honestly, for the yellow stab attack that he's got, I would just suggest shadow dashing through it. Don't even bother jumping, just shadow dash through it. Or get hit and get some invincibility frames. Yeah, back when I was doing this, I was still under the disillusion that I could kill 3 times when I would stun a boss. Probably why I had so much trouble against the pure vessel. Because I was dumb enough to believe that I could heal at least twice against them, but no, unless you've got quick focus, you can only heal once against the pure vessel.
Bam. Final.
More healing. Honestly, Team Cherry was really generous with the healing when it comes to the easier bosses, but when you get to the final set, that's when you will most likely die, if not against the new bosses that you will encounter on the way, because we're gonna get to one in 10 minutes. For Hive Knight, every time he spawns these spike balls, I've gotten used to just using Descending Dark after they do their downward stab to get enough invincibility frames to be able to see where the balls spawned. It's especially annoying because if you don't do that, one of the balls might spawn right on you. Elder Who? I don't know why he's this far in. I don't think he's tougher than the Hive Knight at all. But whatever. It's easy healing for what it's worth. Oh my god! That's what I think he's saying right there. Okay, the Collector. This is by far the most RNG-ish of the boss fights. Easily the worst one too. Basically, he can summon Primal Aspids, like right there. Grubberfly's Elegy makes short work of them, but I do not recommend having Grubberfly's Elegy for the final fights. You can equip it for just this specific segments of fight, but the thing is, if you get hit before starting this fight or during this fight, before you dealt enough damage against the Collector, you won't get the Grubberfly's Elegy effect anymore, and Because of that, you have to rely on your spells to get rid of all of the enemies. Case in point, the main spell, the one that shoots out the Vengeful Soul. You'll be using that every single time he spawns Primal Aspids because you do not want them to accumulate over time. You do not, I'm serious. It will ruin your run. There have been people complaining on the forums about just this one boss specifically. Just because if he summons a bunch of Primal Aspids, you're gonna have a bad time. And you might think, oh, just practice against the Collector. Not quite. You can't really practice against the Collector because sometimes when he spawns a Primal Aspid, the Primal Aspid will attack the moment they're out of the glass jar. So you're pretty much guaranteed to get hit just because of how accurate their stupid stacks are. Godmaster I was still struggling with at this time. I was underestimating the how high up the things of acid would come up, and he kept going right into me for some reason. It kept going right into me after doing its roll attack. In my later attempts, I would generally focus on the beast over the God Tamer and keep my distance. But it's not too tough. Just a little annoying. And then we've got Grim. He bows to the God Seeker. If you attack him while he's bowing, he'll still scream at you, so don't do it. Although if you do it while he's teleporting away in the beginning, you will be able to get a hit in without angering him. But Grim is a fun fight, so don't mind too much. For reference, Grim is aware of the fact that he's in the God Seeker's dream. Besides the fact that he bowed to the God Seeker, if you dream nail him, he mentions how this is a fantastic stage for play, or you know, his usual flowery language of how he enjoys performing for others. And get quite a few hits in here. Grim is particularly kind when you stun him. You have ample time to heal, like 4 times, even without the quick soul. Or quick focus, sorry. Quick soul. Grim isn't vulnerable to nail attacks when doing this, but you can attack him with spells, which actually makes the fight go by much faster. Like, I've dealt so much damage to Grim while he's doing that attack sometimes that he goes into another balloon phase right afterwards. After doing a balloon phase. Kinda funny. I wasn't too keen on doing it in my first attempt though. Some of you might have noticed. Mostly because I was using my soul specifically for healing. Right here. There we go. Grim does not reappear, but he's still alive. I mean, this is just a dream. No one's really dying until the end, that is. There's a glitch with these blue masks every now and then. I don't know why, but there was one case where a blue mask spawned over one of my current masks, and because of that, it didn't count. Kind of weird. Sleeping God, we can barely feel thy presence amongst the green left behind. Blah 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 blah. It's un. You can see them and them in the background. You know, you're just sleeping. For reference, once you're past the unseen or area, that means you're at least halfway done. That's not a compliment. It's taken over half an hour for us to even get here. Well, almost half an hour. Watcher Knights, I've heard some people complain about them, but I can almost no-hit them at this point after tons of practice. They don't have many moves, really. As long as you're not playing too impatiently, they should never hit you. But of course, I play impatiently, so I get hit quite often. I eventually started using Howland Rates when they do their bounce roll. You know, this one. Because they resist nail attacks when they're doing this, but not spells. So, you know, might as well take advantage of it. Like I did right there. I wasn't using that as much in this first attempt because I wasn't really using a spell charm set. Mostly focusing on my nail upgrades. Don't know why, but you have ample time to heal after being the Watcher Knight. I have a long death sequence for some reason. Okay! Again, people complain about Umu. This is the Ascended Arena, so it's a little harder. But it's not that tough if you take your time. Just be patient, wait for the other jellyfish to spawn up, and wait for them to align perfectly. If they never align perfectly after being spawned, just don't take the shot and focus on dodging. There's even plenty of opportunities to get sold from Umu by dream nailing them. I think the only time it's ever annoying is when you have a small nail, because if that happens, you don't want to like hit the jellyfish if they're too close to Umu, because you'll be hit in the explosion, even though it's totally worth it. But yeah, you just have to be patient for this fight. Umu's attacks are easy to dodge. Most people complain because they lose their patience and try to get a hit in and just screw up. This is better than the actual fight in the main game because actually it's more involved. You don't just wait around literally for Quirrell to do an attack to expose Umu's defenses. That was a bad move right there. I wasn't too good with dealing with Umu at this point. I'm just gonna say that. Like I hit that way too early. This one I've dealt with at the right time. I've heard that Umu is gonna be super nerfed in the next patch. For reference, this Pantheon of Hellnest, I beat it pre-patch, so this is the hardest it's ever been, I believe. Or that it ever will be, rather. Because I'm pretty sure there's only gonna be nerfs from now on. Mostly with a couple of relevant bosses. Oh, by the way, if you can deal additional damage after exposing Umu's defenses, but the thing is, just hitting Umu with an explosion deals damage to them. But yeah, here's the first new fight that really screwed me up. Not Hornet. It's Wayne Nosk. So the reason why I was struggling with this fight is that I wasn't used to this guy's strategy at all, and I was low on health. Wayne Nosk is not that tough, I'm gonna be honest. I can no-hit him now. But back when I first started this, I was having serious trouble. Trying to heal. Taking my time. We're gonna be here for a while in case you're wondering. Incidentally, Wayne Nosk doesn't have that much health. I'm just gonna say that right now. I've heard some people say they're disappointed with the strategy of this boss, but I like it a lot better than Vengefly King. Like that's the comparison people made. That Wayne Nosk is just a Vengefly King that has a couple new moves. But the thing is, it's a net improvement over regular Nosk anyway. This is their desperation move. Probably the most annoying move. This is the one move that actually screws up my no-hit attempts on Nosk. Because it's kind of hard to tell where the drops of the acid will land. When Nosk summons acid from their body, there's actually a specific way they land, so it's actually easy to dodge. But when they're in the ceiling dropping something from the ceiling, well, it's kind of hard to tell where it's gonna land. So, like sometimes you see the one that's about to land on your head, and you move out of the way, but then there's another one that's about to land on you next to the direction you were walking, so you can't react to that. Unless you dash, but then you end up dashing right into the puddle afterwards you're dashing into. That's basically why I was having so much trouble. But overall, I enjoyed this fight a lot more than regular Lost. I think, yeah, I was just trying to finish it at this point. No soul, well, not enough soul to heal, and only one mask left. Guess what's gonna happen? I was really hoping there was gonna be another break after this, but nope. In fact, there's 2 bosses after this. And we got Sly right here that I'm not particularly experienced with. I did have enough of an understanding to beat them reliably, but with one mask, wasn't gonna happen. I was looking for a place to heal at this point, and I did heal. But then I get hit here, and yep, there's so much range in the second strike of that basic combo that Sly's got. Kind of weird, but Sly is really easy, not that challenging at all. So basically, we're transitioning to an attempt much later on with a completely different set of charms. In this one, you can see that I have an Unbreakable Heart to give myself 2 extra masks, and I think I was mostly focused on Nail Charm. Not sure. We'll see when I use a spell. See if I had Shaman Stone on. I definitely had Mark of Pride, as you can see from the massive range of my nail strikes. Yeah, I had a much easier time when I've got tons of masks to spare. I cannot emphasize how much more experience I've got now. This is a completely different challenge that was done much later on. In fact, I believe this is at this point I had all 16 bindings done, so the Pure Vessel was something I was expecting to beat fairly reliably. But we're not at the Pure Vessel just yet. For this phase, I don't know why some people had trouble with it. You can literally just walk away from Sly as he's about to use the spin attack on you, which is his only attack. Even with a small nail, you can get 1 hit in and then repeat the process until you win. The only time you need to dash is when he's coming up from above you. Because when he does that, there's a good chance he might actually hit you. Don't dash. But yeah, so little health, it doesn't really matter anyway. Speaking of so little health, Hornet 2 right here. She's really glitchy for some reason. In one of my runs, she ended up upside down after I beat her. It was kind of weird. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of that anymore. But there's plenty of images of people glitching Hornet into the walls or leaving her upside down somehow. So just look it up. Kind of weird. I don't know why it's so buggy. I think it has to do with the fact that the walls aren't quite the same as they are in the actual fight in the main game. But whatever the case, Hornet 2, she has so little health that you get pretty much face tanker, unless you specifically are using a binding for this fight. I can't speak for bindings for the Pantheon of Howlness because I've never done it. Not yet, anyway. Full heal. And yeah, see? 4 extra masks. Tons more experience now. I'd have shown my full attempt with this run, but let's be real, this video would be 3 hours long if I did this. Every attempt of the Pantheon of Howlness, assuming you reach the end, not necessarily beat the final boss, will take at least 40 minutes. And this is with an aggressive set of charm upgrades. With bindings, like let's say the nail binding, you're dealing even less damage, so it takes even longer. So it's just agonizing. Like, let's speak of bindings actually. No, actually let's not. I have to talk about the Lost Kin. Lost Skin is really laggy on the Switch version pre-patch. Like, I imagine it's gonna get patched eventually, but if you've been playing for over 2 hours, maybe even just 1 hour, you'll notice some considerable lag during this fight. At some point, I fought them after like 4 hours, and the fight was so laggy it was unplayable. Like literally 5 frames per second. Crazy. They're not that tough, but I've never done a no-hit run on the Lost Skin, so not too good with them. No Eyes is using their Ascended layout. It's kind of annoying. If you get hit by the Medusa heads or No Eyes herself and then get launched into the vines, the game doesn't give you any invincibility frames when you respawn, so you can then get hit by another Medusa head as you get back into the fight. Really annoying. It might look like you can't hit her when she's in the vines, quote unquote, but even with a small nail I managed to hit her, so like, if you're not too sure, just do the hauling rate. Traitor Lord, you should never have any trouble against him. Just keep pogoing off of his head. Even with a small nail, it's no trouble whatsoever. Like, the only risk I've ever seen of doing that strat is if he does a retreat to do his ground slash attack, it might screw up your dodges, and you might like dodge right into him trying to avoid slashes that are coming at you. White Defender is kind of annoying. He's got more health than I'm comfortable with. Not a hard fight at all, just kind of one of those tedious fights you wish was over faster. Hauling rates helps a bit, of course, but can only do so much. Doma. I've really learned White Defender's strategy really well. Oh, by the way, when he does this, if you get hit while he's in the animation by the fact that you drop into him or something, you actually get out of stun lock and can deal a ton of damage on him while he's stunned. Makes the following segment really easy, but it's not applicable for those doing hitless, so whatever. Oh, well, he's make soul meter full. Helps a lot. Here we get the white lady in the distance. Unfortunately, I don't bother talking to the Godseeker because I've already seen his dialogue a multitude of times, and I just don't want to bother with it anymore at that point. You'll have to look up a different person's attempts on this mode to see it. Even though I have footage for it right now. It's not too terribly interesting, it's just the Godseeker talking about how they wish they could get close to them. Like, this is a family reunion of sorts, you know? If like family members are kind of terrible at parties. Basically, everyone is here, everyone relevant to the plot is here. So, no elder bug or anything like that, just people who are important. Rest in peace Mila, and rest in peace Tiso, because he died before I started this. It really feels awful that they tease Tiso like that for some people. Some people really like Tiso, even though he's a mean old bastard most of the time, and wish that he had actually been implemented as a fight anyway, even though the reward for him being a fight was not met during the crowdfunding. But then again, like, there were some things that were not meant with the crowdfunding that was implemented anyway, so whatever. Soul Tyrant is really fun, I just want to say that right now. Never get tired of this fight. I struggle to do it hitless reliably, but I like it a lot just because it's tests your reflexes enough to not be annoying. It only deals 1 massive damage. And you can see me squeezing in some hits. And then done. Donezo. And now we have another super annoying fight. Ascended Marcotte is unbelievably frustrating, and I don't know how you're supposed to carry blue masks past him. By being extremely patient, I guess. But once he has both of his shields up, it's just agonizingly long to finish them off. And right here, I had a good position to damage him in. The real problem I have with Marcotte is that his hitbox is annoying to deal with. Sometimes he just floats right into you.
Mine.
Whatever the case, this wasn't so bad in terms of luck, because it's kind of luck based where he's gonna be when he does his shield attack. Here you can get some soul from Zot just before the fight starts. Kind of important. I've seen some people complain that Zot is just annoying because he can walk right into you every now and then, because he apparently has a lagless walk animation. Honestly, I don't think his walking is that bad. I think the most annoying thing is when he does the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack when you're in the middle of the arena and a ghost spawns right on you. I think that's what he says is most annoying. But his walk animation being lagless, I never heard of people properly complain about that, if you ask me. He clearly has a startup animation for it at the very least. It's the ghost that can appear right on you that I feel is more annoying. And there's that where he dashes in the air just as he's about to ground pound. I don't know why that works that way. He's uncannily accurate when he does that. Ow. Yeah, I'm just fist tanking him right now. Even though there's some pretty tough fights after this one, I never cared enough to actually not face tank Zot when I'm annoyed of him. This was a mistake though. Failed champion, you actually want to have some soul when starting this fight. And unfortunately I don't have any. In this attempt anyway. And like the problem with the failed champion is that attacking the armor, as I am right now, doesn't give you soul. So the only way is by dream nailing him, which is pretty much impossible while he's jumping around. And you have to be real close to it for some reason. I think at some point I mentioned that you can attack, or rather you can leave the failed champion when he's defenseless like that for as long as you want. That is not true. After like 10 seconds, he will retreat back into the armor and well, you'll have to start the pattern again. But yeah, basically, when you have soul, you can spam hauling rates 3 times specifically to be able to immediately get into, well, the next phase. Well, 3 times and some slashes, I guess. And yeah, you can see me finishing them off right here, and then getting more and more soul. Even after they're out of it, you can still dream nail the armor for more. Whatever, I won't complain. More soul for me. But yeah, after after the failed champion, you got Nightmare King. I hope you've been practicing. This boss was considered the most toughest up until now. Now he's considered a challenge and a good fight because all his attacks don't like go into each other. Like once you know how all the attacks work, it's just about reacting to them. Although there is one attack I personally want to complain about. This one. I personally have trouble dealing with that attack when he does it. Also when he corners me with a slash. That's kind of annoying too. Some people have trouble with this. Just jump. That's all you gotta do. Get good at jumping. This is definitely the part where you really want to attack him. And when he does this, you still have ample time to heal 3 times, even 4 times I want to say. I think I had quick soul during this fight though. Quick focus, sorry. I don't know why when I keep saying quick soul. I guess it's because the soul is involved, but you know. Ow. Ow. So I guess I can give some tips about his attacks. When he does this, just slowly take your time going towards him and use Howling Rate when he's about to summon the fourth one, you know, when you continuously walking. When he's doing the downward dive kick, quote unquote, just move out of the way and then down stab while jumping. When he does the fire bats, wait for the first one to go above you, jump over the first one on the ground, then shadow dash through the second one on the ground. Forget the other one. When he does the slash, walk away and then stab him as he's about to do his Shoryuken. That's pretty much all of his moves. Like, except for the puffer fish phase. That one you just stay around and wait for him to be done. Maybe throw in a Vengeful Soul here and there. The only phase I have trouble dealing with is when he summons his spikes from the ground, you know? That's the one where I have trouble reacting to it. Anyway, once you're done with Nightmare King, you get your last break. A full refill, and you definitely want to have 4 extra masks. I cannot stress this enough. If you only have 3, the game doesn't act like you have an extra 3. It acts like you have an extra 2. That's actually what motivated me into getting the last 4th one. Besides the fact that it would also give me tons of practice on the Pure Vessel. Speaking of which, here it is. Pure Vessel. I will still attest that its downward stab, specifically the teleporting one, is way too fast. But after tons of practice, you will be able to react to most of its moves. This, you just shadow dash through. Stab, you jump over. Counter, shadow dash through if you can. Otherwise, don't activate it. I'm doing pretty badly right here. Still wasn't too used to it, but eventually I adapt. So yeah, the power of quick focus right here. If you don't have quick focus, you cannot heal 2 masks reliably. Like, maybe you can, but there's a very likely chance that the Pure Vessel will hit you as you are about to finish healing the second mask, utterly wasting your heal. But you know, you might get lucky and they'll do a counter instead. You can also heal when they do this spell, but it's not too reliable. Like, sometimes the spell is right on you and because of that, you get damaged. This move, I don't know why this is the last move they use on you. It's not strong at all. It's too easy to dodge. Like, of course, occasionally I do get hit by it, but for its last move from the fight, it's like, it's a weaker dash attack. That's what it is. Like, I got hit by it right here, but that's because I knew the fight was basically over. And I'm healing right here, but it's not necessary, because you get a full refill going into the final fight. It's the Radiance. Or so you think. The Godseeker is there too, of course. In fact, it's relevant to what happens if you beat the Radiance. Or so you think. You'd think it's the Radiance. But no, this is not the Radiance. It's absolute Radiance. So basically the same thing as the Radiance, except faster attacks. And you can see me feeling the effects of these faster attacks right here. There's some other attributes, however. For example, the sword spawn that it did right there, it actually summons 2 sets instead of 1. I think it only summoned 1 in the Radiance fight. Lasers are faster. In fact, I'd say the lasers need a nerf because they're so fast they can actually appear right on you. Vertical and horizontal swords, those are the most annoying attacks. The moving beam of light, that's also an annoying one because it can fake you out and cancel the attack when it's half through the screen in order to completely screw you over. It can literally double fake out you. And seriously, It's just kind of annoying. The swords though are definitely the worst, especially the horizontal ones. Vertical ones aren't too good either because if you're in the air, they're very likely to hit you as they spawn. Some people have accused this fight of being RNG based, and yeah, right there, you see it cancel its light beam. Kind of weird. Some people have accused this fight of being RNG based, and that's always been true for the Radiants, but the thing is, it's all about adapting to its attacks as they're coming. Sometimes the RNG is in your favor and she does easy attacks that allow you to take advantage of it so that you can damage it easily, but I've never felt that it's completely and utterly unfair. Well, until the 4th phase, but we're about to get there right now. 3rd phase is still easy even with the faster blades. I fully healed myself right here, but honestly I should have just stuck to 5 masks. Because it deals double damage as usual. But yeah, the problem with this phase, the 4th phase, is that how easy it is depends on whether or not it appears right over you or on the corner over there where you cannot hit it. Yeah, see? That position right there. How the hell are you supposed to damage it when it's there? You can poke off of it, but it's too risky because the horizontal swords, as the ones you can see right here, can appear right on you, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, first time fighting the Absolute Radiance, of course I lose. What did you expect? I strongly suggest practicing the Absolute Radiance in the Hall of Gods before trying to hail the Pantheon of Hellnest again. Until you've at least beaten her on Attuned, but I'd say try beating her on Ascended before trying the Pantheon again. Whatever the case, this is my successful run. Our charm set is Shaman Stone, Soul Twister, and Market Pride, and what was my other one? Oh yeah, Unbreakable Strength, of course. You can see me using All-In Raids much more often because it is the most effective way to damage her. Unquestionably. If she's really nice to you in the beginning, you can basically spam it 5 times and immediately go into the 3rd part of this phase. Or 3rd phase, as I like to call it. Yeah, see? I'm already there. And I only got hit once. I was trying to dream nail her right here. Can't do that. And here you really want to hope you get lucky and she appears right on you so you can get some easy hits in. But honestly, if she's off to the corner or something, just be patient. Just wait. You don't have to go to her. If she's in this corner, you can actually damage her by going right under her, but it's kind of risky because, of course, the light beam and sword can appear right on you and you have barely any time to react. But yeah, you can see me being patient right here and healing. Some people have suggested Shape of Un for healing in this fight. I honestly can't speak too much of it because I never tried it, but I don't think it's worth sacrificing Soul Twister or other notches for doing it. Because if the light beams appear right on you, they're gonna hit you. You're dead. And right here that was a bad move, but she's right on me now, so I just damage her quickly. Take advantage of it. But you can see me being patient and taking my time. And yet I dealt enough damage. I heal one more time to give myself 5 masks, which gives me enough leeway to survive the final ascension. You might think, like I mentioned, that the Absolute Radiance is basically the Radiance but faster. There is one major change though. Major in my opinion, of course. The final hit is no longer a final hit. You actually have to deal quite a bit extra damage to her when doing this. Right here. I don't like how small these platforms are. Like, you can barely see them because of the void coming out, but as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm basically using the next void to avoid damage from the light balls she summons. Unfortunately, the light balls have an RNG to them where they just sometimes look like they're gonna appear, but don't, and because of that, she does a fake out where the light ball appears somewhere else, or appears out of nowhere, kinda. But yeah, as long as you do this exploit, she's easy. I had Mark of Pride though. That definitely helped a lot. Here you can see the God of Gods casually defeating the Radiance. Obliterating her, in fact. I was celebrating before this, so that's why I didn't attack immediately. Yeah, she was absorbed by the void in the regular true ending. Now she's just completely obliterated in this new ending. Now, speaking of endings, there's 2 new ones, and they all depend on whether or not you give the delicate flower to the God Seeker outside of the dream. I didn't, but in my current save file, I actually did it afterwards, so I don't know if I'll... Like, there's not that much difference when it comes to the ending itself. It's just like one different animation where the God Seeker is spared because of the delicate flower. Outside of the dream. Right here. Basically, it would shift to a picture of them holding the delicate flower, and it would spare them instead of, well, this happening to them. Kind of creepy. But speaking of creepy, it's Hornet. And we think that's the Hollow Knight. I'm pretty sure it is the Hollow Knight. You know, the one that was infected, but no longer infected because we obliterated the radiance in her absolute state. The credits are the same as before. But basically, many people think that this is a sequel hook to the Hornet DLC. And you know what? I kind of hope it isn't, in a sense, because if it is, I'm pretty positive it's going to be even more challenging situations. You thought the Godmaster DLC was hard? Well, guess what? It's going to be even harder when you get to Hornet's main campaign. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if it was just the same thing, but like the same thing as the main game, but you're playing as Hornet. But I kind of hope there's some new areas. I really do. Anyway, that's pretty much it for Godmaster. Or almost. There's one more video after this, but it's mostly just for one couple of extra things. Talking about the Land of Storms, the Hall of Gods, and, you know, the one little extra thing, and some other things too. Whatever case, hope you've all enjoyed this. You don't have a nice day, and see you next time. Bye-bye.